Hi everyone and welcome to another Beatles on Uke lesson with me, Matt Stead. In today's lesson we're going to look at an absolute classic from the Sgt. Pepper era, Strawberry Fields Forever. The song was written in 1966 by Lennon, and as with a lot of English psychedelia, it harkens back to his childhood, and specifically Strawberry Fields, the orphanage and grounds near where he used to live. The song was recorded at Abbey Road as part of the Sgt. Pepper sessions, but because the record label were desperate for a single release, it was never included on the album and instead was released as a double A-side in 1967 with Penny Lane. The song has some beautiful but unsettling exotic sounding chord changes, and the original piece is actually in the key of A half sharp. It's microtonal. What? What does A half sharp mean? It's not as complicated as it sounds. If you listen to the piece, it's really two performances spliced together. We've got the original John Lennon demo up to the minute mark, and then we have the more dense orchestrated version. And because they were both half a step apart, they needed to be very speeded to make the cut work perfectly. And with some really clever studio wizardry, they managed to get the two parts that were recorded in different keys to sit beautifully together. But because they're kind of halfway between one key and another, we end up with the song being halfway between A major and A sharp. Now don't sweat the theory too much, this one's relatively simple to play, and we're just going to do a strummed version but with some really nice accents and a lovely tabbed introduction. And to keep things simple, rather than us having to retune all our ukuleles, I've just transferred this to the nearest full key, which is B flat. So without further ado, let's listen to my ukulele arrangement, and then I'll show you how to do it part by part. We'll have loads of fun doing so. Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to Strawberry Fields. Nothing is real and nothing to get hung about. Strawberry Fields forever. Living is easy with eyes closed. Misunderstanding all you see. It's getting hard to be someone below words out. It doesn't matter much to me. Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to Strawberry Fields. Nothing is real and nothing to get hung about. Strawberry Fields forever. No one I think is in my dream. I mean it must be high or low. That is, you can, tune in, but it's alright. That is, I think it's not too bad. Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to Strawberry Fields. Nothing is real and nothing to get hung about. Strawberry Fields forever. Always know, sometimes think it's me. I know when it's a dream. I think I know, I mean that is, I think I disagree. Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to strawberry fields. Nothing is real and nothing to get hung about. Strawberry fields forever. Strawberry fields forever. Strawberry fields forever. So let's jump right in and have a look at this lovely tabbed intro. I based this on Paul McCartney's lovely mellotron introduction on the original. The mellotron is a type of wind organ and it hadn't really been used in pop music before. It gives a really ethereal, almost spooky sound, but a lovely, lovely opening to the song. The opening of the introduction is based on 3 types of F chords: an F major, an F major 7 and an F dominant 7, and this creates this lovely kind of falling melody. In this case, it's suggested by the notes on the C string. We have this note, an F, which is the tonic in the key of F. Then we have the 7th note in the key of F, which is E. And then we have the flatted 7th, which is E flat. And the tonic suggests a major F chord. This one suggests a major 7th chord. And E flat suggests a dominant 7th chord. What makes those falling notes sound even more delightful is that it's juxtaposed against the 2 other notes from an F chord, that's an A and a C, and those play as an accompaniment in the background. The brilliant thing is we can do this on the ukulele really beautifully. What we're going to do is we're going to put our first finger on the 3rd fret of the A string, that's for the C note here. And we're going to put our ring finger on the 5th fret of the E string. And then all I want you to do to practice this is just to strum down with your thumb. You can use the nail or the pad of your thumb, roughly where the body of the uke meets the neck, and just strum down those 2 strings. Okay, and we're going to do that 4 times. That's the accompaniment part. And that's the A note and C note from the F chord. Now the magic happens when we put those moving notes against those stationary accompanying notes. That will sound like this. Isn't that lovely? You have that movement and that's juxtaposed against the accompaniment that stays exactly the same. There's a couple of ways you can approach this. My favourite way is to put my index finger here, 3rd fret of the A string, my ring finger here, 5th fret of the E string, and then my 2nd finger comes on top of my 3rd finger here, 5th fret of the C string, and I'm just going to strum down my thumb twice all the way, not hitting the G string. Then I'm just going to move this finger back like so. Now you could move this finger back like so. That will give you. But I find on my tenor uke, I find that really uncomfortable, my fingers in that position. So what I prefer to do is start the same way. But when I get here, I flip around these 2 fingers so they look like they're almost in a spread out G position. Okay, that will look and sound like this. After we've done that, we go down here and we play a G note on the 3rd fret of the E string and a B flat note on the 1st fret of the A string. You're just going to pick the bottom 2 strings now. Those notes are a 3rd apart, G, A, B flat, hence they harmonise together beautifully. And they suggest a G minor chord that we're going to use later on. And then we're going to go to these unusual notes, an F sharp and an A. That's where things start to get slightly discordant. There's a lot of that in this song. So, okay. Let's piece that together then. Join in with me. 2, 3, 4. Isn't that lovely? Now to finish off, this is really nice and simple. We finger a G minor chord like so, and we just pick the bottom 3 strings physically, C, E and the A string, one string at a time with your thumb like this. Just drag that thumb down. We go to an F chord and we do exactly the same thing. And then we finish off with an E flat and a B flat to finish off. The intro really highlights that tonal ambiguity here. The song has a childlike feel to it, and you'll see that in the lyrics later on, and of course the subject matter being the Strawberry Fields orphanage. But also it feels kind of psychedelic and unsettled and unusual. It's what makes the song sound so fascinating. For instance, in that intro, because the first chord is F, I know it's an unusual shape, but an F no less. And then we go to another F, an F major 7. But when we go to this chord, it has an E flat in it, and the key of F has no E flat. So that's hinting that we're going to B flat, which we are. Feel that resolution at the end on the B flat chord. Really fascinating. Now, you don't have to know all the theory, but isn't it interesting that there's actual real musical concepts behind creating a psychedelic feel? A lot of us just think of psychedelic songs as those with kind of nonsense lyrics and kind of really heavy or exotic sounding instrumentation. But actually, there are some technical musical things going on which give that feeling of psychedelia. The first being the unusual choice of chords. Later on, that ambiguity is also applied to the time signature, so the time signature also becomes ambiguous and makes you feel unsettled and kind of somewhat weird, but in a cool way. Anyway, let's just have a go at playing that introduction part. If you're not quite ready, just use it as an Later on, that ambiguity is also applied to the time signature, so the time signature also becomes ambiguous and makes you feel unsettled and kind of somewhat weird, but in a cool way. Example, and then you can pause the video, practice it and come back when you're ready. Come in after 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. G minor, F, E flat, B flat. Fantastic. Notice at the start of the chorus we have an NC. That just stands for no chord. What you're going to do when you finish that intro with that lovely E flat to B flat, you're just going to let that B flat hang, and over the top, if you want to sing, you're going to sing the opening phrase. Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going. And then we're going to hit our first proper chord, if you like, on the word to. So we start this song with an F minor chord. Now that's unusual because that's the 5 chord in the key of B flat. And the 5 chord in any key is normally a major chord. So here we would have B flat, C minor, D minor, E flat, F. So that F would normally be an F major. By playing in F minor, the piece feels slightly darker and slightly unsettled. So we're going to put these 2 fingers down here, kind of like a Hawaiian D7 move backwards, and our little finger here. And we're going to do a really simple yet beautiful strum pattern. Think phonetically, we're going to play down, 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 up. Or the way I like to think about it, walk, 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 running. And we're going to do that twice on every measure. Walk, 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 running, walk, 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 running. Okay, that'd be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, and then we can do the same thing on the next chord, a G7, like so. Okay, Now, if you like, you can thicken that up at any point by adding more up and down. So if we think about it as walk, 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 running, walk, 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 running, at any point, just add more runnings in. Walk, 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 running, walk, running, running, running. Have a little experiment with just thickening it up. It sounds really, really nice. And we have another exotic chord here, a very simple one, G7. That's the 5 chord in the key of C. But in the key of B flat, it's the 6 chord, and the 6 chord is generally played as a minor chord. So again, an unusual chord choice here, adding to the feel of slight kind of psychedelia and darkness to the piece. If we put those together, that will sound like this. Strawberry fields, nothing is real. See how that G7, it does give it a mystical sound, almost a bit Alice in Wonderland. Next up, John Lennon starts to really play with our minds a little here by changing the time signature just for a measure. It's a way of getting only 2 beats on one chord, but then going back to 4 beats on the next one. So we go from 2-4 to 4-4. You can think of that as almost like half a measure and then a full measure. So we only play 2 beats of this E flat, and then 4 beats of the G that follows. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Isn't that mad? And again, we've got another type of G which shouldn't really be in the key of B flat, so it leaves you feeling a little bit unsettled. So let's put that together from the F minor. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Strawberry fields, nothing is real. Isn't that cool? And nothing to get hung about. Now this is psychedelic, right? So John Lennon continues messing with your head. This time we have a measure in 3-4. What? So we go from 2-4, which is kind of like cut time, to normal 4-4, common time, and then to 3-4, which is technically a waltz. That's why this song sounds so weird and wonderful and psychedelic. It makes this next bit almost impossible to strum, but thankfully at this point it sounds really nice with an NC, no chord, where we just strum once at the start of the bar on this E flat, strawberry fields forever. And then when we get to the ever, we strum a B flat and we're back to our normal 4-4 time. Now, if I play that and count, you'll hear the 3-4 timing. 1 and 2 and 3 and... Okay. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Crazy, huh? No, it's not too bad because if you know the song, you can just sing the words and you'll feel the timing. Strawberry fields forever. Okay, let's do that again. 2, 3. Strawberry fields forever. One more time after 3. 1, 2, 3. Strawberry fields forever. Fantastic. Let's try the whole of that chorus together then, starting with the F minor, remembering we're back in common time here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Strawberry fields, G7. Nothing is real. Now just 2 beats of E flat. Nothing to get hung about. Strawberry fields forever. So let's take a look at the verses next. Now, once you've got one of these verses, you've basically got all the verses because they're all identical in terms of the chords that we play. The start of the verse uses the same chords as the intro. We have 3 types of F, F, F major 7 and F dominant 7. Now, instead of playing them up here, we're just going to play them in open position down here. The first 2 chords are played for half a measure each, so 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and then the F7 at the end is played for a whole measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now the first F is really straightforward, right? We have a bog standard F major like this. Living And then we go to this F major 7, which just looks like an A minor, right? Is easy. But in this context, really is being thought of as an F major 7. The reason being that the notes that make up an F major 7 are the notes that make up an F major, F, A, and C. But we also add an E note, which is this open E string here. Okay. That's the 7th note in the key of F, hence F major 7. And notice that when we take this finger away, we're losing the root. There's no F, so this is a rootless F major 7. But we still have the A, we still have the C, we have another A here, and we have the E. So it's an implied F major 7, and it works really well in open position. So we go from normal F, just take away your first finger, and then when we put this finger back down, we're going to add this note here, which is the flatted 7th, E flat, which gives us F7. Okay, so it'll sound like this. Living is easy with eyes closed. Part of the reason I'm using this shape for an F7 is the next chords are G minor, and you can literally just move every finger down a string like so. Miss under, back to an F, standing or we, and then back to an E flat, C. These chords all sit more comfortably in the key of B flat. That's why this section sounds a little bit more relaxed, a little bit less mystical than the chorus does. Now the only thing to watch out for in this section is that F chord that comes right at the end of the line. It's only played for 1 beat. So we have 3 beats of E flat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The F comes on 4 and. I'll show you what I mean. Living is easy with eyes closed. Misunderstanding all we see. 2, 3, 4. See that? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just a little, almost like a question mark, which takes us into the next E flat, which is half measure. 1 and 2 and. F for half measure, 3 and 4 and then we have a similar thing at the end of the next measure. We start with B flat for half measure, 1 and 2 and then we only have 1 beat of G minor, 1 of F. And you could just do a single down strum on those. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Okay. Let's try that from the start of the verse, Living is easy. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Living is easy with eyes closed. Misunderstanding all we see. 2, 3, F. It's getting hard to be someone, but it all works out. Yeah, nice. And then we finish it off with another E flat. It doesn't matter much to another E flat, me. And then we're going to do an NC, which just means hit this B flat once, like so. Okay, so that line will sound like this. It doesn't matter much to me. Okay. So the whole verse, get your F chord ready and come in on Living is Easy after 4. 1, 2, 3. Living is easy with eyes closed. Misunderstanding all you see. It's getting hard to be someone, but it all works out. It doesn't matter much to me. Fabulous. Now, believe it or not, that's most of the song, because here we go back to another chorus, and most of the song is just chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, and then we finish with a little outro. So you know the vast majority of the song already. So we finish that verse with the B flat no chord. That just means you play it once and let it ring. And that's where you're going to start singing the chorus again. You're going to go back to the second line down where it says chorus, and we're going to start singing, let me take you down 'cause I'm going. And we come back in on that F minor with our playing. Let's try that first verse then, and we'll put that together with going to the chorus. So start where it says verse 1, back to strum. 1, 2, 3, 4. Living is easy with eyes closed. Misunderstanding all you see. It's getting hard to be someone, but it all works out. It doesn't matter much to me. Let me take you down 'cause I'm going to strawberry fields. Nothing is real and nothing to get hung about. Strawberry fields forever. Don't worry if you're not there yet. This might take a fair bit of practice. Go easy on yourself and just be prepared. You know, these are some quite difficult chord changes and quite quickly done, some of them for just a beat. And that's without the fact that John Lennon messes about with the time signature. But work on it slowly and I promise you'll get there. It's a really lovely, lovely sounding song and a great one to play. And it really does work perfectly, just strumming it like that all the way through. It sounds fantastic because those chords are so lush and unusual, and you have those lovely stops where we have no playing at all, and also the changes in terms of the time signature. So there's already a lot going on. But if you want to kind of spice it up a little bit, let's look at a few things we can do just to add a little bit of variety. For instance, you might have noticed that when I hit the B flat that takes you to each chorus, you might have noticed that I just rake my fingers back over the strings. I do it very gently, just bringing my fingers back one at a time over the strings. In slow motion, that will look something like this. Okay. Notice it goes 3, 2, 1. And it just creates kind of gives you that nice psychedelic feel, almost like George's guitar before we go into the chorus, which is really nice. You don't even have to do it that fancy pants. You could just bring them over like this. And it just gives something. Let me take you down. It's almost like a little introduction to the chorus, isn't it? A really simple, sweet thing to have a try at. There's a couple of other things. Sometimes on the verse when I do the first 3 chords, that's F, F major 7 and F7, to add a little bit of variety into the rest of the song, what I tend to do is I strum down with my index finger, and then on the way back up I pick the A string, then the E string, then the C string, the bottom 3 in reverse. 1 and 2 and I do that slower. Doesn't really matter which fingers you use, but I like these 3, just sounds natural. Okay. And I do that on each of these types of F chord. Now what I like to do sometimes after I've done that is add my little finger on this note here, this C note, to make the F7 sound slightly different to the first time I play it. I'll show you what I mean. And from there I go back into strumming. Let's try that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Living is easy with eyes closed. Misunderstanding all you see. Isn't that lovely? Again, you can practice that really slowly and then just build up your confidence. I'll show you that one more time. doesn't really matter which verse you put which of these techniques on. I quite like to keep the first verse fairly straight just to get me into the song, and then I like to do this picking pattern on the second verse. On the third verse I do something slightly different again, and again this is on the first three chords, F, F major 7, F7. And all I do is straight 8 strum. That just means I strum down with the nails of this hand, all with down strums like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then I also just extend this finger a little bit so I hit this A string with a decent bit of gusto like this. Okay. You can also strum down and just touch that A string if you want. That will sound like this. Okay, then when I put that together with the chord changes, so that would sound like this on a verse. Living is easy with eyes closed, misunderstanding all you see, and so on and so forth. So something just to experiment there. You could always experiment with your own strum patterns and picking patterns. See if you could put something interesting into those first 3 chords of each verse. Now you might have noticed I've put some mini mats in the worksheet there. That's just to help you point you in the right direction so you know what's going on. So we have the introduction. Then we actually start with a chorus rather than a verse, which is quite interesting. And the first mini mat is telling you just to notice that time signature change, just to be aware of it. Then we have the first verse that we're going to strum. When you get to the next mini mat on the second page, notice it says, now repeat the chorus. So we go back and we do another chorus, and then we do verse 2. And then guess what? We go back and do another chorus, and we do verse 3. Then we go back and do one more chorus, and then this time at the end of that chorus we head to the outro. And this is almost like a tagline. It's almost like last line of the chorus over and over. So we have our E flat and our strawberry fields forever. Strawberry fields forever. That resolves to the B flat. But this time afterwards we're going to put in a cheeky G minor that makes us want to go round again. So we have this strawberry fields forever. This time just E flat and B flat. Strawberry fields forever. And then one more. Now this time we hit strawberry on the E flat. And on fields 4 we're going to hit an F chord. So that will sound like this. Strawberry fields forever. Isn't that lovely? Let me do that whole outro so you can hear it then. Strawberry fields forever. Strawberry fields forever. Strawberry fields forever. Now at this point in the original song we have that lovely outro of the crazy guitar. Down, 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 and all the other instrumentation going on. And obviously there's only so much we can do on a ukulele here. We can't make our ukulele sound like 17 different orchestral instruments and an electric guitar, right? So what I've done is I've quite simply gone back to the one chord, a B flat to finish on. So after the last couple of measures, strawberry fields forever, you can just end on that B flat as the one chord. If you want it to make it sound a little bit more discordant and jazzy, which I really like, is I'll sometimes turn that final B flat chord into a B flat major 7. That's just like a normal B flat, but you've lifted off this first finger so that it's just on the E string, not on 2 strings. That gives an open A down the bottom. For that nice kind of discordant sound. Strawberry fields forever. That can be a really nice way to end it. And that's it, folks. Now you know how to play a psychedelic Beatles classic, Strawberry Fields Forever. You probably already know this, and of course I said at the start that Strawberry Fields was a double A side with Penny Lane. That's a really good performance opportunity because we looked at Penny Lane earlier in the course. Perhaps if you're going to perform this live or even just for yourself, that would be a nice way to pair them up. You could play the double A side single, Strawberry Fields Forever, and Penny Lane. Well, I really hope you enjoyed that and found it useful. If nothing else, I hope that you take away from this that John's psychedelic music was more than just a load of drag taking and nonsense words. These songs are really well crafted in terms of those ambiguity, in terms of the chords, the lovely changing in time signatures and much more. So really fantastic stuff. So stay fab. I hope you enjoy the rest of the course. I'll see you in the next lesson very soon. Cheers everyone! Bye! Hi there, hope you really enjoyed your Fab 4 free Beatles on uke lesson. I've got a whole course of these if you're interested, featuring song history, song analysis, and going into a lot of detail. I explain how to play the songs, and sometimes we'll even do some really detailed and beautiful chord, melody and fingerstyle arrangements. There are songs spanning their whole career, from that early brilliant R&B music to their later experiment things right through Sgt. Pepper, White Album and To Let It Be. And every lesson comes with free worksheets, often featuring full tab and sheet music, so you can really get stuck into those wonderful Fab 4 arrangements. You can join up for £10 a month for Silver membership, which covers the 3 main courses, beginners, intermediates and next steps. Or you could sign up for a Gold membership where you get all 10 courses, including such things as Beatles, ukulele, jazz and blues, uke theory and much more. And on top of that, you get my priority email address, so you can email me with any questions. You can even send me video submissions so I can comment on how you're doing and give some suggestions. We have fortnightly live lessons every Wednesday at 3:30, and these are available for a replay if you can't make it at that time. And every Monday evening we have either a Canacapella live jam or our Melodic Mondays, where I teach you how to play melody style. You'll also get access to a special members ukulele forum and instant access to over 150 ukulele arrangements, many tabbed out in a lot of detail for you. And of course you get to be part of our amazing, warm and welcoming ukulele community. And of course there's no pressure selling, none of that rubbish, I hate all that, that you get sometimes on other courses. If you want to cancel any time, just ping me an email, or you can do it with a click of the button via the website. I hope you get much use and lots of enjoyment from my content. See you soon, take care, and you can.